I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We've built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast. All right, welcome to today's episode of the Digital President Podcast, episode 30. Today we're going to be talking about really what is better, a website or a YouTube channel. Think about if you were, stranded in the desert and you only had to bring one tool in order to survive. Well, you're in business, and if you only had to choose between a website and a YouTube channel, which one would you choose? Today we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm Woods Davis, and I'm here with my co-host,
Mr. Michael Reese.
And let's kick off the conversation. This kind of came out of a question. We get a lot of questions from agents that we partner with that we help grow their business. And a lot of people are asking us about YouTube, about how to use YouTube to grow your business. And we had this little discussion about, what do you think is more important, like a website or YouTube channel? So I'll let you just kind of kick it off and maybe share what some of your thoughts are.
I'm going to kick it off and I'm going to keep it interesting. I don't think this came out of a question. I actually think I remember exactly what happened. I think me and you were sitting down, and for those of you that don't know, we committed to YouTube. We did the year before. We hired a full YouTube person, and the pandemic hit and we got kind of set back a little bit. People didn't feel comfortable being in the same room. This is at the beginning of the pandemic. As we took another whack at the piñata to go after YouTube, Woods, you said after seeing really seeing the stats and seeing, just having experience with websites, you said, man, I don't know if you agree, but this is because we were having the conversation around Content Hub, where people go. And the discussion came around on how YouTube really was the future of your website. And I think the point was, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, hey, should I have a website or YouTube? I don't even think most real estate agents think like that. I do think agents have websites, and websites have a responsibility, and they invest a little bit of money into them, and then they kind of like set it and forget it, right? And some people's websites work better than others. No one really knows why. And that's where we, brought out the concept of funnels. And if you understand the difference between a funnel and a website, a website is where someone who does not know you goes to learn more about you, right? They're going to connect with you. They're going to connect with your social media profiles. They're going to be able to navigate your website through your navigation bar. They're going to have the about you, the contact page. If you have programs, if you have professional services, that's what people do when they go to your website. When people interact with your marketing, however, it should be more specific. It's if your marketing is intended to get in front of a seller, then everything on the page after the ad where they land should be compelling based upon the message. YouTube is different. YouTube is owned by Google, which is one of the largest search engines in the world. And people go to Google to look for anything they want. They Google it. It's become a name. It's brand in itself. Its name has implied that you are searching for a solution. Whether that's a problem, a location, you're searching for something. It's search. Well, YouTube, obviously being owned by the number one search engine in the world, is a search engine, but it is search that provides not maps. Obviously, there's videos with people who obviously have maps, but it's different. That search is given content in a way, specifically video content. And because you have all of this traffic, it would be foolish for you to say, hey, guys, listen, I think the difference is, Woods, is if you could have one restaurant, would you want it at the busiest international, airport, at the international terminal with the most people that are coming into the airport that are flying, from point A to point B? Would you want a restaurant there, or would you want it on some random corner in some random city where all you have access to is the drive-by traffic? And this is what it comes down to. YouTube has built-in traffic. And all you have to do in order to get that traffic, and that's what makes websites, funnels, any type of advertisement. I mean, the goal in advertisement is, the goal is to produce a customer, obviously, is in order to spend $1 to get a customer. And in order to spend that dollar, you either have organic traffic or paid traffic. And the thing about paid traffic is you have to factor that all in, and you're paying money in exchange to get people to see the opportunity, the offer. I think what happens is on YouTube, people actually, you get more traffic. And with that traffic is able to see more content. They're able to get to know and like you. They don't have to be, again, they have to be on the system, which is YouTube, either from their phone, or again, they can be on Google, which will then, what will it do? It'll take your videos based upon search, and it will syndicate those videos across the platform of Google, which again will bring you in more traffic, but you don't have to pay for the traffic. And I think that's what you do is on YouTube, is if you produce the content, you're putting content out there that's going to live forever. With an ad, you have a start date and a stop date. When you stop spending, that ad is gone. There's no more paid traffic. And so now you have to build a methodology for making an investment, which we do all the time. That's what we're known for. But when you've done that for so long, and you know the time, energy, and effort that it goes into converting that, putting those people into a sales process, the question is, well, how many leads do you need to get from paid advertisement in order to find somebody that's willing to, do business with you? And that's a very short life cycle, right? That's going after the people that are ready to do business. Now, I think YouTube is more of a somebody who is subscribing. The goal there is to get subscribers for people who are going to not only see this content, but content in the future, or this is going to be their first introduction to you, and they're going to see content that you produced in the past. And so the difference between your website is it's the difference of building a house or a city. Your house, a website is a house. It's like you invite people over to your house. It's limited in nature, right? In order to make any changes to your website, unless you're technically savvy, most people are limited. Once they get a website, I bet statistically a very few people websites change. If you get a YouTube channel and you produce content and you create playlists, that content is changing consistently. And because of that, people come back. Once I've gone to your website and I've kind of seen all the things that you have to offer, and I've made a decision whether you're for me or not for me at that particular moment, I'm not going to hang around, right? Because most of us aren't producing content. So YouTube is a content play, but it's packaged up in this nice thing that looks just like a website. But the difference is that you can update that site from your phone. You can update that site from a live video from your phone. You can produce content. You can interview people. You can stay relevant, right? And you don't have to do that by being, a web developers, if you will. To update a website consistently over time, I'm not saying that it's hard, but it's harder to do than it is YouTube. And the second thing is that usually everybody lands on your homepage. Your homepage of your YouTube channel is designed in a way to give people exactly what they're looking for. Content. People's intention when they come to YouTube is not to click off. Their intention is right there. They are giving you their attention to watch a video based upon whatever it is that got them there to your channel, whether that was putting something in the search bar. So from that aspect, I think that the investment that you're making to your website, I don't know. I think the investment of time, if you want to demonstrate your expertise, if you want to communicate not only your top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content, if you want to be able to have people out there hanging around, watching, coming back to your site over and over and over, getting to know and like you better, then I would be trying to find out a way to get people from YouTube, because those people are going to know more about you. They're going to know what makes you different. And eventually when they do decide to reach out to you, they're going to be further down the journey of transacting, whether that's a real estate business or that's any other business that decides where they're going to invest their time, energy, and effort.
So, well, what about, agents? And I really like what you said. And I really do think that that is probably the case with a lot of agents. They want, I feel like, a lot of times with their marketing is they want to just have this magic pill, this one stop shop to just accomplish the goal. And it's like you said, I think you said their website, a lot of them is almost like a set it and forget it, right? Oh, well, I've got my website and now that's going to magically, help me get more business. And really, marketing is not just, an event. It's a process, and it's a process that's continually adding value to, to your prospects, to the people that you're coming in contact with. But like, what would you say for, to agents that, that are, that kind of have that mindset of like, well, people want to search properties. And so, I want to drive people to my website to search for properties. And, is that not good enough? Like, do I have to have YouTube? Do I have to create content? I mean, what's your opinion?
Well, I mean, it's the same as yours. I mean, the same thing that to be true is that buyers look for selection and affordability. They pick the agent that they first come into contact with. And I think that if you're gonna go out there and compete in the selection arena, then be prepared that 3 out of 100 of those people are going to be ready, and a certain percentage of those 3, so 3 out of 100, are already going to have a real estate agent. And so, right. You're gonna call more often. You're gonna tweak your voicemail. You're gonna be more persistent. You're gonna chase them down, if you will. You're not gonna attract the people that are looking for you. And I think it's a better thing to live a business that is attracting versus chasing. So, do I think people can want to go look at properties? Yes. Do I think that that's a differentiated value proposition? No. People can go look at properties on Realtor.com, on Zillow, on any other agent's website in the country. So the fact that they found your website over all of the others, well, that's the real question. How did they get to your site? Well, they got to your site because they saw an ad, right? Now, did you have a third-party vendor who sent you a templated website who customized it to your local market and then turned around and ran traffic to it? Yeah, probably. And did that traffic come from search all area homes based on this? Yeah, probably. And did they care about your link versus other link? No, you were in a lottery. You were in a lottery. That didn't mean that they weren't working with an agent. That didn't mean they wanted to work with you. That didn't mean they were, doing something tomorrow. And so the name of that game is you run those people down. Now, I think that that game is a great game, because I think any game that produces a positive ROI is a great game. If you're trading a nickel and a dime for $1, keep doing it. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but what I'm saying is, for those 97 people that decided not to do business with you today because they're not looking to do something until next year, you can certainly email them a YouTube video. I think if you start on YouTube, it enhances your conversion because it gives you an ability to nurture a relationship. See, most people's marketing has ADD because they're starting on the website, and the truth is that website, they're not running the ad. They're not typically, if they are, then they understand exactly what I'm talking about. They know all the leads that they're not converting. The real question is what are the opportunity? Is the opportunity to find business with the person who's going to do business with the first person they come into contact with? Is that your opportunity? Or is your opportunity to come up with the way to convince the other 20% of the people that are going to do something in the next 12 months that you should be the person that they at least look to, right? And so there's so much information that you can communicate to that person. Are they a local area mover? Do they have a home to sell? Do they know what their home is worth? Do they need to know how to create a home preparation plan? Do they need to know, what things they can do in order to attract more money than their neighbor? Do they need to know, the current state of the market? All of those things you can communicate to somebody through YouTube. And here's the thing, a YouTube video is not perceived as advertisement. Mm-hmm. When somebody watches, if I send you a video related to the thing that you were already demonstrating you were doing because I generated a lead, I like people to look at my YouTube video based upon the headline and say, hey, if you watch this video, you'll probably like these other videos. And if you like these other videos, then you'll like these. And next thing you know, we all know it. You're down the rabbit hole. But you're not just down the rabbit hole. You're down the rabbit hole and you have somebody who's guiding you. And they're guiding you. And as they make you aware of things you never thought about, or they inform you and educate you and maybe even entertain you, then that relationship that you feel like you know them. And that when you feel like you know them, especially if part of that content strategy was testimonials and stories and case studies and things to consider that you never thought. Maybe you're wanting to buy your dream home, but you have a home to sell, and they put out a real good content piece that explain the things that you need to avoid and things that you need to pay attention to. It's all of that. If you're not in that situation, don't watch the video, skip to the next one. So it's as a consumer, I get to choose how I interact. You get to communicate with me. You can send me an email that says, hey, thinking about selling your home during the holidays? No, the answer is no, I'm not. I'm not thinking about selling my home during the holidays. Thinking about buying a second home? Yeah, I am actually, and those are the things that you're able to do. If your only strategy is to advertise to find someone who's looking to buy or sell now, then you become very muted, right? People don't look at you as a resource, right? Because you're not providing them with anything different than anybody else as far as they're concerned, because they don't know any more about you than what your website says, and your website doesn't say anything except they can search for homes. Now, if you had a video that said that you could help them save up to $10,000 in unnecessary expenses and take advantage of free state, federal, and local grants that could, help them with their down payment, that type of content backed with, and listen, we're not talking about content that's an hour. I'm talking about a 3 to 7 minute video that just educates them over time. If that video is not for them, it might be for somebody 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 4 years from now, 3 years from now, 28, and it lives forever. It's an asset. Will Smith just came out with a new autobiography, but his famous story is, his dad used to lay bricks, and he said, your goal is not to build a wall, it's to lay one brick as perfectly as you can lay that brick. And that's the quote I believe we quoted in The Digital President, is that when you lay out, every customer that you have in your business, every question that they've asked, somebody else has had the same question. So when you answer it for a customer, if you put that content out there, then not only can you answer questions for people that they know they have, you could potentially answer questions they didn't even think about. And as you do that, you move up in your ability to influence them in their decision, because you've now created authority by demonstrating your expertise. And you can't do that with a website. A website only tells a very small picture. We all know a video's worth 1,000 words, they say. Obviously, the argument is it could be worth 1 million, but it's way more compelling than to say someone's going to come to my website with this limited real estate, and they're going to be limited to stopping what they're doing, reading everything on the page, consuming everything, and navigating that way. No. And the last thing, Woods, is they're already on YouTube.
Right.
You're trying to get someone to change their behavior. If people are already going on YouTube when they're at home laying in bed because there's a video that they watch, maybe they subscribe to YouTube because they use it for their television services like a lot of people do to these days. I know you do, Woods. People are going to YouTube. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. So why not go to where they are versus try to find them somewhere else and get them to come to your website when you already know where they're at? All you got to do is get the tool to work for you, to get the system and the platform to work for you.
It's never a good idea to go against the natural behavior, right? It's never a good idea to try to take somebody out of the natural environment. You got to kind of adapt and mold to where people are spending their time, how they interact. I mean, it's hard to get somebody to refer other people to your website. That's a harder thing to do, but it's easy to get somebody to share a YouTube video, especially if it was valuable to them and it might be relevant to somebody else. If I had a friend, if I just saw a really good YouTube video about, the best neighborhoods in Frisco, Texas, and I had a friend who's moving to Frisco, Texas, I'm a lot more likely to share that video with that friend than I am to, send them to somebody else's website. Right. And so I think that there's obviously a lot of benefits. One of the interesting things that you and I talked a lot about is the fact that we used to use a strategy, and it's not even just a strategy, but we used to post videos to a blog page, and we would drive people to a blog page, and especially leads that you've already generated, as far as your follow-up campaigns, driving them back, and we would have video content that would educate. And then we'd have calls to action on the blog page. We'd have people, to be able to go find out what your home's worth, search for local area homes. All of those different calls to action were right there. And the idea was like, well, we could control that traffic, and then we could give the people these call to actions there. And the reality now is that all of that same capability, your ability to have calls to action, your ability to drop links, all that now lives in the description of a YouTube video. And because you're on a platform that they already trust, they're more likely to engage with it. They know how to engage with it. They're familiar with the YouTube platform. They're familiar with how it works. And also too, one of the things I really like about YouTube is also too, there's obviously a social proof element. When people are watching your videos or they're interacting with your videos, that might spark, somebody else to chime in, to reach out. And so like, to me, it's almost as if the YouTube video page is like the new landing page.
It's a city. It's a city. It's bigger than just you. It's a city. It's like you might not eat when you go to the movies, you're going to order popcorn. When you go to the mall, maybe there's a restaurant that you wouldn't have went to but you're already at the mall, you're shopping, and it's like, hey, listen, there's our favorite. They're already there, right? And I think, at the core of what you're saying, Woods, is that at the end of the day, this as well as I do, and I don't expect everybody to understand this, but everything we do, the biggest bottleneck is traffic. I mean, that's the bottom line. The bottom line is I don't care what kind of funnel or website you have. Their ability to produce value for you is elastic to the amount of traffic they get. And at the end of the day, there is way more traffic. You can either pay for traffic or you can get organic traffic. That's where it comes down to. And the question is if you're already out there in the field, if you already know the answers to these questions, you can either refuse to do that because you don't know what to say, which is your own obstacle that is easily overcome, or you're deciding that, okay, well, I'm going to pay for traffic. When you pay for traffic, when you stop paying, your traffic stops. With YouTube, when you get that movement moving, you're going to continue to receive traffic. And at the end of the day, your ability to invest that time just doing the things that you already do and taking the time with today's technology. I mean, if it was 2006, different story. 2008, different story. But, 2022, I mean, everybody's got a smartphone. They have high, so many people have they can consume video. And like you said, they're already there. I mean, to me, if you go fishing, is your goal to catch a fish right here, or is your goal to catch a fish? If your goal is to catch a fish and you're fishing and you're catching fish, why would you move? Right? Well, I want to go catch fish behind my house. Do you? Or do you want to catch fish? Right? Because if where you do it from matters, then yeah, if getting business from your website, first of all, let's just face the facts. Most agents who are getting business for their website are spending a lot of money on the website, but they're not these templated sites, or they're spending a lot of money on traffic. They don't work by themselves. YouTube works by itself independently of any of that. And that's the point in case. The point in case is that once you produce the content, you can stop and you have leverage. You don't have any leverage. You have a bottleneck. Your bottleneck is your budget. Your ability to produce content is limitless. You're the bottleneck. So if you can solve the problem of okay, how do I produce more content? That's the reason people don't do YouTube, is they don't know what to say. They don't know what to produce. They don't think they have the right equipment. They try to make it perfect. Some of the best YouTubers out in the world started with an iPhone or a smartphone or a very dumbed down version of that camera technology that has now been, exceeded many times just due to technology advancement. You can produce quality video. The question is why don't you? And that's getting to the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is you don't know where to start. You don't really know what to do, and you don't know what to say. And if you do, we just did a YouTube video. We'll link it in the description about the top 10 videos that you should produce if you want to get started in your real estate business on YouTube. We also produced another video about YouTube, basically how to get started. And we go over 3 different types of camera setups. The real truth is that I know people right now, and I'm not even endorsing this, just hear me out here. I know people right now that heard about Bitcoin and they heard about it early and they took action early. And regardless of what the outcome is, we'll let the future dictate whether that was a good investment of their time. But I can tell you that right now in most of your markets, this is still early. And there might be a handful of people, but I've witnessed it in this year. I watched people go from no YouTube channel to this year. In their first 12 months, they're number 2, and next year they will surpass the number 1 person on YouTube. And now they're going to do it. They're going to do that by understanding that they're committed. That's the difference. Is YouTube takes a commitment, but it's one of those things that if you're committed to it, it's committed to you. Meaning, if you can imagine YouTube every single month saying, "Hey, Mike, how many clients do you want?" Okay, well, in order to do that, here's how many videos you're going to need to produce. I mean, the people that are doing great on YouTube tell me this is a verbatim, quote unquote. A good friend of mine said, "Mike, I produce a video and I look at each video as being worth on average," and he said $7,000. And the reason why is because when he goes back and looks at his commissions earned based upon the videos that he's produced, that's what it's worth.
Right.
And the problem is, like anything, like getting in shape, that you don't produce video day 1 and then make $7,000. It's because of that commitment. And the hardest time is the first 90 days. But once you're committed, you start to produce more in a week than it took you the first 90 days. That's that. And then you start to produce more in a month than you did in a year. But it's that front load commitment, and it's suffer one of two pains: the pain of regret or the pain of discipline. You're either going to regret that, man, I should have started this 2 years ago when I first had the idea, or you're going to suffer the pain of discipline of, okay, what am I going to produce? But if you want to change your life, you got to change something you do every day. In order to do that, you have to get organized, organizing people to create value. And a lot of people don't realize that it's a lot easier than it appears because at the end of the day, you're the one that's making it complicated based upon the narrative. I promise you, if you came to my house and you stayed in my office with me, we'd knock out your videos. If I came to your market, we would knock them out in 2 days. You'd be done for the month, right? And I bet you if we did that for a year, you would say, I don't want to ever stop doing that. I mean, I love it when people reach out to me and look at me as an expert and don't question, I don't have to sell them. They're asking, questions that I would consider a good lead. And the reason they're saying that is they're going to tell you, yeah, I've been watching your videos. I saw the first one. I don't know exactly what video that was. I've watched so many, so I don't remember. I think it might have been your one when you did this, that, and the other. Oh, yeah, I did that 4 months ago. Yeah. And then I've ended up, I watch them all. And that's what happens is you build a relationship. And here's what I want to end with, Woods, is don't get caught up in the likes and comments. None of that matters. In this business, it's not the size of your list. It's the relationship you create with it. If every one of your past clients sent you a referral this year, would you do pretty good? Yeah. So that right there says your past clients is not a huge list comparative to your entire market, but your relationship with those past clients is depreciating every day that you don't communicate with them. So, producing YouTube videos, staying top of mind, staying relevant, it has a geometric impact on your business because it not only helps with your unconverted leads, with your past clients, it also brings in new business. And I just don't see someone's past client going to their website, right? I don't see somebody's past client going, I'm going to go to Michael's website. No, because there's no reason to go.
Well, I really appreciate all the context, man. I definitely, we've definitely experienced that. I mean, we've really seen a transformation just as we really went all in and fully committed, I guess, pretty much this past year in YouTube. And I just have one final question before we wrap up. I mean, just since we've kind of gone hard on YouTube and really just made that kind of one of the pillars, the top pillar of our content strategy. I mean, right now, every time you do an appointment, like how many times do you have a new client or do we have a new appointment who hasn't seen your videos versus has?
I mean, the answer is everybody, and y'all know who you are, and that's why I continue to produce videos like this. And if you like videos like this, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications because we're going to continue to do it. We're committed. It's if you're not committed, if you don't have a strategy, then get one. This is one of the best. That's what I'm saying. Now, if it's aspirational and you don't know how to get there, then get a plan, because having a strategy and having a plan are both important things in business. I'm telling you, having a strategy around leveraging video online leveraging social media and content marketing and creating a plan and removing the biggest bottleneck or problem or limiting belief or mindset, whatever it is that's stopping you from being successful, said differently, you need to attack that. But, for us, Woods, it's everybody. And a lot of those people, Woods, met me a long time ago and they got reintroduced, re-engaged because I was around. If you're around and there's a way for people to, stay in contact with you and they're interested in doing so and you're providing value to the marketplace, it's a beautiful thing. So all I can say is that if you're not doing it, you better assume you're wrong and dig a little deeper. And if you want to do it, then make sure that you subscribe to this channel because we're committed to helping you. And, it doesn't take 10,000 things to grow the business of your dreams. It just takes one or two things working really, really well. And a lot of the times it's never the problem. It's how you're thinking about the problem. So if you're thinking you can't do this, if you're thinking it won't work, if you're thinking that somebody else has already started it, if you're thinking it's too late, if you're thinking that you're not good on video, whatever the thinking you're thinking, stop the stinking thinking and say, if I had a gun to my head and I had to produce videos over the next 90 days, how would I get it done? Change your mindset, right? If somebody came to you and said, listen, here's the thing, I'll pay you $1 million if you can create 100 videos on YouTube. Here's this, you would do it. But if you just do it up in advance, you'll get way more than, you can earn a limitless, no cap. But the reason you won't do it, if you don't, it's going to first be because the way that you're thinking. And then second, it's going to be because you don't realize process improvement. Because the first one's going to be the toughest, right? The stuff that I did, I can share with you. Vulnerability stories, but I didn't give up. And we all know success is just getting up one more time than you fall. Some of my best things that have had the most blessings in my life, I can tell you they were hard at first, but they got easier. And that's what comes with commitment and discipline. So, get clarity, get committed, and then make sure you do what you're supposed to do every single day.
And we'll see you on YouTube.